Well, hi there everyone and welcome. Thanks so much for stopping by my channel. Today's recipe is for another meal in a jar. This is something we like to order at the local Tex-Mex restaurant. Now, please forgive me if I mispronounce these Spanish words, but I promise this is a great dish. This recipe is called Huevos a la Mexicana con papas y frijoles. And that just means eggs. A la Mexicana is talking about the green peppers, the white onions, the red tomatoes. Con papas means with potatoes. Y frijoles means and beans. So we have eggs with the vegetables and potatoes and then the beans. I like to add some pepper jack cheese to my eggs because I think it makes it even better. This is one of those things that I am not going to attempt on a weekday. This is like a weekend breakfast for us because there are several dishes that I'm going to have to get dirty in order to make it. But this is a fantastic meal and it's very filling and it feeds probably 2 or 3 people at least. Now in the bottom of a 24-ounce jar, you can add the red layer, the white layer, and then the green layer. Now if you're watching your carbs, just leave out the potatoes. I think they're delicious in here though. And that's what goes on the bottom of the jar, is that really nice green, white, and red layer, like the colors of the Mexican flag. Now, in order to prepare the eggs separately, they have to refresh separately. You need to put them in a baggie or something like that. So I have a sandwich size baggie, and I'm going to put half a cup of scrambled egg mix and then some pepper jack cheese. If you're wanting to feed more people, like if you want to feed maybe 4 people, increase that amount of eggs to maybe 3/4 of a cup of eggs and just add some extra water and it would be plenty to feed 4 people. Seal up that bag. You need a second bag to put the refried beans in. Now, if you're not going to serve the refried beans, you could just use a smaller jar, or if you want to serve the refried beans, but you don't want to put everything in this jar, just leave them in the can and bring them out when you're ready to prepare your dish. I like to season up these beans with Goya seasoning. About 1/4 teaspoon is all you need. Our beans are great, but they are not seasoned. They're just pinto beans. So they do need a little bit of seasoning to add some flavor. Seal up that bag. You can add an oxygen absorber, and then you can put on your lid and your ring. There you have it. This is Huevos a la Mexicana con papas y frijoles. And isn't it beautiful? Just look at those layers. I just think it's really pretty. And the idea is if you try this and you like it, you can make up several of these jars at a time and then have them on your pantry shelf ready and waiting for you. Teddy Bear was really hopeful that I was going to be a messy cook and drop some stuff on the floor that day. He's not wrong. I'm often a messy cook. All right, see all these things you have to get out in order to make this. You need 3 different things: a medium-sized skillet, a small saucepan, and a medium-sized bowl. So go ahead and get the baggies out of your jar and then empty the contents of the jar into that medium-sized skillet. So that's the tomatoes, potatoes, onions, and green chilies. And you're going to add a cup of water to that and just kind of make sure everybody has access to that liquid. You might push it down just a little bit and just let it sit there. We're not going to turn on any heat. Let's go ahead and get all of these things refreshed first. And into a medium bowl, you can empty your egg baggie. That's the egg and the cheese. And I think I put a little bit of salt in there. You can add some pepper if you like. So 3/4 of a cup of water is really all you need. Give that a stir and those eggs are going to rehydrate really easily. They're just a nice, smooth texture. And you can set that to the side. All right, we're ready for the refried beans. And those are literally just cooked pinto beans that they smush. And go ahead and add some water to that. Give it a stir and just let those sit. Those can start to rehydrate but you don't need to turn that on yet because those cook really quickly. All right, I'm gonna take a quick pause here because I wanna show you something else you can do with our scrambled eggs. You can make migas. This is actually my favorite thing to order for breakfast at a Tex-Mex place. All right, so what I did was I refreshed the eggs and the cheese just like I showed you before, and I put it into a medium-sized skillet with a couple tablespoons of butter that had melted in there. That's on medium heat. Now I'm going to turn my heat down to medium-low, maybe a 2.5 or so out of 10 on my stove. And then you just start to scramble these eggs. The secret to really tender, fluffy eggs from Thrive Life is low heat. Don't cook these too high. The protein seizes up and they get tough. So low heat and patience, a lot of stirring, and you're going to have really tender and fluffy scrambled eggs. Now, when they get to the point where they're starting to be almost done, but they're not done yet, there's still liquid in there, that is when you need to add the migas. Now, migas are freshly fried corn tortillas. You can do them in strips or squares or triangles or whatever shape you like. But you freshly fry some corn tortillas and add them to the eggs before the eggs are finished cooking. And so what happens is the eggs are going to continue to cook and finish cooking with the corn tortilla, the fried corn tortilla in there. And the migas are going to absorb some of that egg flavor, and they will soften a bit from the liquid, but they don't lose all of their crunch. They are fantastic. If you try this, I think you'll love it. And like I said, it's just my favorite thing to order at a Tex-Mex breakfast place. You can turn off that heat and just let them go. And whenever your eggs get to the doneness that you like, you just serve those up. We like to put a little bit of hot sauce or salsa on them. We like to serve them with refried beans and a tortilla. This is some ranchero sauce that I make. I should do a video on that sometime. It's a warm salsa, and my husband likes the ranchero sauce on top of the migas. Yeah, so any kind of salsa is good on top of migas. And that's just how we like to eat it, with the tortilla and some beans. Okay, so thanks for letting me show you that. It's just a little bonus. All right, let's get back to it. Turn that heat on to medium. Those veggies were just sitting there and kind of absorbing the water for probably like 5 minutes or so. Oh yeah, I forgot to season the vegetables, which is silly. You need to season every layer. Once that water has evaporated, you can make room for some oil and butter, or you could just do all butter if you like. What you want to do here is saute those vegetables, because you're going to get a lot better flavor if you saute your vegetables. You're going to kind of fry those potatoes and those onions, and it's going to be incredible. All right, now you can put some heat on your beans, and you'll need to just bring those up to a bubble. And you're just going to go back and forth between the veggies and the beans and just make sure, nothing's sticking on the bottom. Just stir every once in a while. Now, I gave these a taste to see how they were doing. I thought they needed a little more salt and a little more time. The potatoes were not tender yet, so I let them go a little bit longer. And then once I felt like everything was good and tender, I lowered my heat, and I was at probably a 2.5 or 3 out of 10. Now check on those beans and just let them boil for 4 or 5 minutes. Now the vegetables are ready for the eggs to be added. Add another tablespoon of butter to the pan. Your eggs need their own butter. And see how nice and smooth those eggs are. Yeah, Thrive Life has amazing scrambled eggs. And it's got that pepper jack cheese in there. and just go ahead and pour that in on top of the butter. I added a little black pepper here. Now, you can just scramble the eggs however you want to scramble them. I kind of like to let them sit there for a minute, and then I sort of kind of start to push the eggs, almost like you would do if you're making an omelet. I just gently push the eggs and just let them start to cook. You can do it however you like to scramble your eggs. But you want to make sure you keep kind of gentle heat. And every once in a while, check on those beans. When you get to this point where you can tell that they're drying out and thickening up, you can go ahead and turn off the heat because they are ready. They'll continue to thicken as they sit. And as you stir your eggs, you can just get them to the doneness that you're comfortable with. I sort of like a soft scrambled egg and not really a really dry scrambled egg, but it's totally up to you. Whatever you prefer. And you can taste them again, add whatever seasonings you like. But yeah, those are perfect for me. This is how I want to serve them up. And it's a good amount of food. This is gonna keep us full all morning long for sure. And see, those beans get nice and thick. And we really like the refried beans as a side. That's how they are served in all the Tex-Mex restaurants around here. The breakfast plates all come with refried beans on the side and tortillas. So that's what I have here. I got a tortilla from the local bakery, and I put some Cholula on the eggs, just a little hot sauce. I mean, they'd be great with any kind of salsa. I like cilantro. But yeah, isn't that pretty? You can see those green chili peppers, the tomatoes. Of course, we have the potatoes in there, and our eggs are just so tasty. I think it's a beautiful dish. It's nice and colorful, and it's just full of flavor. Okay, I always forget to say this, but like always, I am going to leave the full recipe down in the description box below, as well as my shopping link. Yeah, that is delicious. And those sauteed vegetables, I think they're just so much better than if you don't take the time to saute them. Now this is how I like to build my little breakfast taco. A good smear of beans on there first, and then just pile up those eggs and veggies. Of course, you don't have to eat this in a tortilla. You could just eat it by itself, but we really do like a breakfast taco. How about that? Doesn't that look great? It was fantastic. You can eat it just without the tortilla if you prefer. I mean, you don't even have to have the beans. The beans are just traditional. But it is a wonderful breakfast. It's full of flavor. I hope I'm giving you some good ideas of ways to use up those eggs you have on your pantry shelf in ways that's different than maybe just a regular scrambled egg or a breakfast bake. Huevos a la Mexicana con papas y frijoles. This is a winner of a breakfast recipe. I hope y'all will give it a try. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate you. Y'all be blessed. And until next time, y'all take care and keep thriving.